At least 4 operations involving dogs kept in such conditions between 40-odd to 150. All I can say is terrible. I can describe these places as something like going into an animal hell. I mean, animals are kept in very, very small cages, and if you look at their condition, you can strictly realize that they have not been looked after at all. Their body condition, the condition of their fur, their behavior, you name it. The condition of the cages are not only small, but they are rusty. They're not clean. They're full of feces, full of urine from the animal itself. If you look more carefully at the animal, you know they are not only very nervous, keep on barking or keep on turning around. You can see how dirty they are. I mean, dirty is actually may not be the correct sort of description. Maybe filthy, body covered by feces, by urine, etc., etc. And for sure, these animals are not being looked after. And if you look even more carefully, you find that majority of the animals suffer from skin disease. The very bad smell not only come from the feces in the whole environment, but also maybe from the from the skin disease of the dogs, of the animals. Also, the behavior shows you that they are under stress all the time, and I mean, there is no doubt about these animals are being kept in these cages for their life, and utilized as reproduction machines. It's unbelievable that people can do things like that to animals. Most of the animals, when you look at them, you can realize that they would not have sufficient nourishment, and not only because they are skinny, but also because of the skin disease. They won't have sufficient sort of resistance to disease. I think breeding animal as a business must be regulated and must be closely monitored and supervised to make sure that animals involved, animals kept in these premises, are being properly looked after. I mean, if you look at all these cases, if you look at the condition of the dogs of the animals that we found, in all these cases, there is no doubt that these animals do not have any quality of life, and they were not being well looked after. They're being treated like a commodity, as I said earlier on, like a reproduction machine. The main purpose for them to be there is to help the keeper or help the owner to make money. On the other hand, the fact that they are sentient, they are a living creature, they live a life, was never been taken into consideration. So I think in order to ensure that animals that are being used for business like this, breeder, there must be very, very strong legislation including listing out, what the owner should do and the type of care that it should be provided to the animals concerned, and how many litters can the animal give per year, etc., etc. And also, in the legislation, I personally think that the owner or the keeper of such accommodation should have the obligation to allow authorized inspectors to check the animals at any time without notice, so as to ensure that animals are being kept properly in these premises. The new legislation will remove the gray area or the loopholes of hobby breeder, right? Because in the past, a lot of people can start breeding the animal and claim to be a hobby breeder, and there is no specific requirement or specific limits to hobby breeders. So, and as a result of that, many people, when they want to do the business, they claim themselves to be a hobby breeder, and they don't apply for a license. Now, the new legislation would ensure that there is no hobby breeder. Anybody who wishes to do this type of business will have to get a license. And once you get a license, then we know where you are. And once you get a license, you have to follow the rules and the regulations from the license. Otherwise, you get the license revoked. And with it, also, if you don't follow the rule and if you cause unnecessary suffering to animals, you're still liable under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals legislation. So it would help enforcement a lot. So we don't have to try and find out, where these people are, where these unlicensed breeders are, and when you find them, they say, well, we're hobby breeder, we don't need a license. And very often, it's very difficult to find out where they are. And even if you know where they are, it's very difficult to get in, right? If you need to have a reasonable suspicion before you can get into the premises to check the animal as it stands right now. But if the new legislation can provide a provision that the owner of such premises have the obligations to allow inspection, authorize the inspectors to inspect the animals, then the animals will be much better protected. The reason the Inspectorate will support the Boycott the Bad Breeder campaign is very simple, because we know, we have seen what is happening out there in the unlicensed bad breeders, and how animals in these premises suffer, and how these people keep this animal without looking after them. And we also strongly believe that there are thousands of other animals suffering in the same manner in other similar premises. And without the introduction of a new legislation, without this type of campaign, I don't think we would be able to rescue all these animals from these terrible places. So that is the reason why we support it, and we look forward to new legislations. We look forward to be able to participate in the enforcement of the new legislations or the new regulations. We really look forward that we will be authorized as inspectors of these premises, so that we can go and give a helping hand to the situation, to the animals, and to make sure that animals kept in this trade are being looked after properly. End this trade in cruelty. Boycott the bad breeder.